Well, in a special tomorrow across our print and digital platforms, the Straits Times will be looking at the key milestones of our COVID-19 fight in the past year. And of course, news editor Karamjit Kaur is here to share more. Welcome, Karam. So there's so much to cover in that 1 year. What did the team choose to cover, and how do you come to the decisions, especially considering you need to present it in the best way possible for our readers and our viewers?
Yes. We thought, long and hard about how we wanted to do this. 1 year, we marked 1 year of the first reported case here in Singapore. That was on Jan 23rd last year. Of course, seems like a lifetime ago for many people. And so we said, and we sort of thought, what really would people remember about this last 1 year? And really, as you mentioned, Olivia, so many things. But when you talk about the key milestones, I think a few things really stand out. First, of course, the day the first case was reported here in Singapore on Jan 23rd, and that was a 66-year-old man who had come from Wuhan in China. After that, we reported the first COVID death, an elderly person, and that then, thrust the whole focus and conversation to basically talk about how vulnerable our seniors are to COVID-19 and why it's so important to protect them from this virus and the disease as well. And then the next really a key milestone was March 23rd, when Singapore shut its borders, and that really was a significant moment given our status as an international hub. We're such an open city, a major financial hub, and I think brought a lot of problems for the entire aviation tourism sector. And of course, for Singaporeans and residents, circuit breaker, I think, was that one defining moment for many people. Since then, of course, we've gone to phase 1, we've gone to phase 2, we're now in phase 3, and I don't think you can talk about phase 2 without talking about the Singapore-Hong Kong air travel bubble. I mean, that created, I think, some optimism in, Singaporeans, Singapore residents, because everyone loved to travel so much. And then, of course, just before that flight, that bubble was burst. Yeah. I think that brought a lot of sadness and disappointment, for many people. And then that story has now turned to hope, because now we've got the vaccines, and we've started getting people here inoculated, healthcare workers, others in the front line, officers from the Ministry of Health. And so we're now really in the middle of this whole process. And like I said, that's brought a lot of hope. But really, I think this battle, as they keep saying repeatedly, it's far from over, And you asked Olivia about how we decided to present this. So we thought, we'll do it in the form of like a graphic, just really looking at the milestones in terms of the dates. And we also wanted to make it very visual, heavy, to run a lot of pictures so that, people sort of remember this is where, we were, this is where we came from, this is where we are today. And we felt that it was a very powerful tool to really tell people this, let's stop, reflect. And now I think it's really even more significant because, we are unfortunately seeing an increase in number of cases and local clusters, which is alarming. So, good to tell people that, yes, we've come so far, but, let's not be complacent.
Yeah. Karam, on that, big key moments, of course, you've mentioned, but at the core of this pandemic are the people who are infected. And so tomorrow's special, we understand, will also include the profile of a former patient. Right,
absolutely, yeah. It's all about people, right? And in Singapore, we've had over 59,000 people who've been infected with COVID-19 already so far. So yes, my colleague Joyce Teo, she caught up with one of the early patients, Mr. Ben Ng. Now he got infected sometime in March. And so she caught up with him recently. And after so many months, he still has flashbacks of his time in ICU. He spent quite a bit of time there, really, literally fighting for his life. And really, we want to tell the story of, what's transpired in Singapore through his eyes. And so, there was a time when, Singaporeans, there was this whole panic buying, which I think a lot of people are never going to forget, for a long time to come. People rushing to get toilet paper.
Shelves clearing out.
Exactly, instant noodles and all that. But I think also more importantly, that then took the whole national conversation towards the whole supply chain process, it sort of pushed, I think, the whole move to be self-sufficient in terms of food supplies, for example. And then also, beyond that, as we then sort of tell the story through his eyes, and then now we're in the stage where we're getting all the vaccines in, and that then has also taken the conversation to our logistics, sector, for example. It's a massive operations, not just in Singapore but globally, to transport all these vaccines. So that sort of also is another important story to tell. So we've put this package together, and we hope our readers will read it and hopefully go away with some tips, and I think more importantly with some hope for the future as well.
Yep. Well, it's certainly very exciting to read that coming out in our papers as well as on our digital platforms, also on our website. Well, thank you so much, Karam, for coming on to the show to speak with us. That was Karamjit Kaur, news editor for the Straits Times. Again, like we mentioned earlier, and of course, Karam mentioned as well, be sure to look out for this special tomorrow in the paper and on our website.